When I've studied the details of that, I'm going to send you a memo on it so that you'll see.
Memo? That's awfully official.
Yes, you're going to get a memo from me, Nicola.
Well, I'll stand by my bed then, Judith. Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. Morning, Judith. How are you then?
I'm good, Nicola. How are you?
I'm exceptionally fine.
Very, very good. Episode 45, beloved.
Yes, I know, astonishing, isn't it? Well, 54 and we're up to the 50, the big 50.
Exciting.
Something both of us have passed already, actually.
Yes.
I've just bought a non.com domain name.
Ooh, what did you choose?
I chose .co because I've been wrangling about whether to put the traffic into leads business offering onto clicksandleads.com, and I tried it and it sort of messes up the focus of the site. So I thought, no, I'm just going to get a new domain, and I couldn't get obviously traffic into leads.com, so I mucked about with all various combinations and it was all a bit clunky. So I thought, no, I'm just going to go for .co, which is nice.
Well, I am a bit of a .com snob, and whenever I can't get it, I mean, for no reason at all, and whenever I can't get a .com, I kind of go, ooh. I know. I never really know what to choose after that.
Yeah, I know. Well, my mind's been opened a little bit by listening to all the software people, because they choose, like Stelli's site is.
No.
I got him in the first 2 minutes.
No, I know he's a .io, isn't he?
Yes, exactly. So they're all using .co's and .ios and things. So I thought I'm just going to get over myself and get a nice tidy domain, which is traffictoleads.co. And so just so I can have a nice focused site, just selling that one thing, and I can link to it from my other sites. I'm definitely, that's the way I'm going now. Is more focus on each site, on one message really.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I just spent an hour yesterday trying to persuade a client to go in the opposite direction.
What, putting everything under one umbrella?
Yeah, because he's just got too many things going on. Basically.
Well, I've got an umbrella site at nicolacairncross.com, so
yeah.
I think that is a good thing to do, but I also think if you want to sell people something.
Oh, I agree. Yes. I agree.
So what about your week then? What have you been up to?
Oh, full on. I had a client visit yesterday for a couple of hours, and I've got 10 client calls this week, including 2 inductions. So I'm up to my ears, Nicola, in work, which after 5 weeks off in August is a bit of a shock, but a lovely one.
Well, at least it's totally immersion, bringing you straight back up to speed with events.
Yeah.
So I'm having quite a fun week, because one of my favourite clients popped up just before. She was en route between American airports. How glamorous does that sound?
Yeah, that's glam, isn't it?
And she's obviously had a brilliant business idea on the plane, and she's popped up on Skype and said, "Can you run a 1 week campaign for me to get 1,000 registrants on a podcast?" And I said, unlikely, but because it takes a little bit of momentum to get going. But she said, well, do your best. And I said, what would it cost me? And I said, and the funny thing was, she'd actually said, I've just been talking to someone else who specialises in that, and they're exorbitant prices. So I thought, okay. So
sorry, just a roll back. A podcast. Did you mean a podcast or did you mean a webinar?
I meant a webinar, of course. Yes,
yeah.
The Alzheimer's kicking in, and and she said, here's your budget, and it was larger than anything I've had to play with before. So I've gone wide, and it's great fun because I've been able to test 15 different images rather than my usual 3. and I love choosing images for ads. That's one of my favourite things. So it's good fun. It's exciting. It's a limited time project, and I'm being paid handsomely for it.
And you've gone wide, which is very exciting.
Yes, it's easy.
I have no idea what it means, but I've written it down. Gone wide.
Yeah, it means I've gone wide.
I don't think I need to know. Honestly,
Okay.
honestly, I don't think I need to know. But I sort of know what you mean. But I just thought it was quite funny.
Okay, well, anytime you want to know about going wide on your podcast ads, you ask me, love.
No, it wasn't on your podcast, was it? It was on something else.
Did I say podcast again?
Yes, you did. You're obsessed with podcasts. No surprises there.
That's terrible. My brain's just super.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Tell me instead. I'll distract you. Tell me what's fueled your fire.
Well, the new review has come in. I don't know whether as a result of our appeal last week, but the lovely Claire Hanbury-Lowe has done a nice review.
Yes, Claire. Big fan. Shall I read it to you?
I'd love that.
It says, "You must listen." What a great way to begin a review, isn't it? A fantastic podcast and one of my favourites. I never miss an episode, but I like to store them up for my overseas trips so that I can have the familiar voices in my mind helping me along when I'm away, like in the rural areas of Mozambique or in low-income parts of Lagos. Quite nice to know we're listened to in Mozambique and Lagos, isn't it?
It's very glamorous indeed.
I am a solopreneur, but my business is running a charity, so I'm not really in the centre of the target audience. Nevertheless, so many of the things that Judith and Nicola discuss are of relevance. I often go to the business books and software recommended to figure out how these business tools can help the charity run better. I'm planning to start a Chatting About Charity podcast. You've inspired me. Thanks, and don't stop. Yay!
Oh, that's so marvellous. A, that she's inspired. B, that she's listening in Mozambique and Lagos. I mean, Sainsbury's one week.
Well, yeah, Claire, you little squidger. Thanks for your feedback. That's lovely.
Yeah, it really does give us such a thrill. So if you are listening and you haven't given us a review yet, then do toddle off to iTunes and do that, or come to Own It the Podcast, where you'll find a nice .com, where you'll find a nice little video showing you how to do it, and we really, really appreciate it, and we will try and read them out because we get notifications now, don't we?
We do,
which is rather exciting. What's fueled your fire this week then?
Great calibre blog posts from writers in my crew. Angela, who writes a great blog called Funny Matters, I think .co.uk, it might be, and anyway, Funny Matters, who's recently got married. But her blog, you'll remember this, was originally about her mother dying of cancer 2 or 3 years ago.
I do remember that.
And this week's blog post is all about online dating in the run-up to obviously meeting Mr. Right and then getting married. Not on online. Yes, I think she did meet him. Anyway, Angela, online dating, very good. And Hina, who's written a book about the ghastlinesses of office life, on losing her beloved golden retriever. Very, very moving. Both of these women are writers, but 2 excellent posts. And when you see a great calibre blog post go out by somebody that you're mentoring, you can't help but feel proud, can you, Nicola?
No, even if you're absolutely nothing to do with it. It's the halo effect, I think. So they do something great, you get a little bit of rubbed off halo. Nice.
Well, just pride, I think, really. Pride in a job well done, seeing a job well done.
Nothing like good writing, which has just given me an idea, actually, of how I could get myself blogging again. So good for that. A word from our sponsors. This podcast is sponsored by clicksandleads.com. Clicksandleads.com believe in affordable traffic and leads for everyone. They'll set up your Facebook ad campaign, page likes, leads or remarketing, then they'll manage it for you. They'll even split test your ads and audiences to find the best performing ones. Game-changing marketing from clicksandleads.com. So what's our client challenge of the week then?
Marketing for coaches.
Oh, that knotty topic.
Well, honestly, what I've written down here is how to build a business as a coach. Oh no! Exclamation mark. The hardest thing of all. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because when I make the notes for these, I scan back through my previous week and think, what have I done? Oh, yes, one of my new clients turned up, and I don't think I thought to myself, oh, I wonder what she does for a living, although I am genuinely curious. But I was a bit knocked back when she said what she wanted to do was build a business as a coach. And oh, God, really? It's the hardest thing of all to do. And yet, the magic of you and how you can help others is for the right people. And I think there are some right people out there, the way to go. So I thought we'd have a poke around in that, because I imagine we've been doing it for ourselves for a long time, and I imagine we've changed our views about the best way to do it. And recently you said something like you were beginning to lose faith in your clients who were coaches and consultants if they didn't have faith in it themselves.
Yeah. Okay, so as I was listening to you saying that, I was thinking, oh, actually, it's not that hard at all, is it? You've just got to, I do like to swing about, 360-degree turn on this one. It's easy. You've got to be yourself. You've got to hang your ass out in public. You've got to write about the kind of challenges your ideal clients face every day. You've got to just do the usual stuff. But the problem is that people don't, or that they take too long to get brave and find their voice and hang their ass out in public.
Yes,
because
you're right.
When you think back to what we were told, Chris Barrow still models it brilliantly, and you do too. You write all the time. Well, you might not have done the last 5 weeks, but you write all the time about the challenges your clients face and how what your thoughts are about it and how you've overcome it yourself. And it's still the best way to market a coaching business is to blog about what your clients are going to be interested in.
I think I've got two thoughts which are coming to my mind as I'm listening to you. The one is that when a new client turns up and tells me she wants to build a coaching practice, coaches are the people who are most likely to buy coaching because they're in love with what they've learned, as are my EFT practitioners and a new one this week, focusing practitioner, and all the people who've found something that fixes things and have done the training. They're on red hot fire with their love for what they've learned, but they're a bit bunged up with jargon. So coaches come and say, my thing is clarity and creativity, and I think,
they've spent a weekend finding out what their thing is.
Well, such blah language. And I say, well, really, tell me a little bit about your work history to date, your life experience to date, your current passions and interests, and how can we stick them all in a blender, whiz them up, and have the output from that be something that's of value to your clients. So please don't tell me any more about clarity or work-life balance or something. Yeah. We've got to sell something back to the marketplace that's everything you've acquired to date that's all mixed up. So I was an accountant and I am a coach and I am into woo-woo and I love money and I can help people. It's me. Yeah, that's what a coach is. It's you, the magic of you and how you can help other people. And so, come on out and tell us about who you are, but please don't talk about blur words that don't make any sense to people at all. They're just too generic. I think that's what comes to my mind. And so I try to excavate, and it's quite difficult with a coach. I try to excavate, what's this all about really? Well, it's about clarity and communication. No. Underneath that, what's it all about? Well, it's about spirituality. Oh, great. Now tell me a bit about, if money were no object, I do the whole classic coaching questions here. If money were no object, what would you like to spend your time? Well, yesterday the woman said, actually, we weren't even talking about coaching. She said, well, spirituality. And somebody else said, she's done a lot of training with the Barefoot Doctor, who we know through Suakel. And something that she's found through his training that she operates every day is making miraculous results in her own life. Hurrah! Authenticity. We've got a bit of a system here that we can, talk about and encourage people. So yeah, I think you're right. Hang your ass out in public sounds a bit scary to people. You never really have to reveal your naked bottom, do you? But you do have to be true. You have to be authentic. Yeah, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be. And you learn that as you go along with the sharing of the information. Quite a lot of them, fortunately, are writers very good at writing, actually. Hurrah! Because, again, that's what pretty much all social media is about, isn't it? The written word.
As you've been talking most eloquently, I've been thinking about some of my clients, and I do, the client who I've just done this one-off project for is, I suppose you'd call her, she's an Uber coach. She's, she teaches consultants and coaches how to make more money by attracting more clients. Yeah. So she's got a very clearly defined outcome, And there was another client of mine who, I'm sure she won't mind me mentioning her, Irene. She's brilliant at helping construction company owners create better businesses. And she's now moving into helping them to create better lives too, because they're crusty old curmudgeons in the construction industry, and they haven't given much thought to a nice life a lot of the time. And I was sort of saying to her, okay, but how can you avoid sounding like every other coach out there that's pitching them at networking meetings and things? And are you still there?
Yes.
Oh, so something just turned itself off. And so when I saw her sales page, I realised that actually one of the things is that she is a living, walking example of how to lead a peaceful, joyful, pleasure-filled life. And, she is a very down-to-earth character, so that isn't a woolly statement at all. She actually does live it. She won't be swayed from her daily walks and her visits to the gym.
I think that's essential. You've got to walk your talk to the extent that you humanly possibly can. I mean, I do think as coaches we teach what we most need to learn. So you are walking your talk. You're demonstrating a small amount of struggle with it, but that you're ahead because you're one page ahead in the manual, as we always say, by having identifying issues in your life and working on them and sharing your experience of working on them with your clients.
Yeah, that's right. And Chris, he really models this really well, because he does. In fact, sometimes he does it on his personal blog, and sometimes he does it on the business blog, depending on what it's about. But he models, having an issue or a challenge and how to, think through the process of overcoming it or fixing it or whatever. And the fact that he does that in public is extremely, it tells that it makes it okay for the clients to have that issue. And I think what you said about Irene as well, same thing, which is, how to have a life too. Yes, we know in coachy language that's a work-life balance, but please don't talk to me about work-life balance, because people brains just switch off when they hear boring old repetitive phrases again, And they won't pay for it. That's the worst thing. They won't pay for a work-life balance, but they might pay for a specific outcome. So that from a marketing point of view, you've got to think about what your coaching brings to your client as a specific outcome. And the best way to demonstrate that is to show testimonials. And if you haven't got any, then you better get some quick.
And also deliverables, poke the pain. What is this all about really? Well, it's about work-life balance. No, what's the problem?
Yeah, and the other thing is that you've got to think about productizing your offering. You've got to one-to-one coaching is where the money is in the short term, but you've really fast got to think about a group coaching program, along the lines of James Schramko's Superfast Business, along the line of Taki Moore's, whatever his 20 grand a month. They're working flat out for that. So you really do need a group coaching program, because apart from anything else, people get a lot of benefit from being you're the master of group coaching programs, aren't you? The benefits are tremendous.
Well, I think the interesting thing is at coaching school, we're taught to do it one-to-one. And we're quite in love with doing it one-to-one. However, we might start there, as you say, but we've got to move something. And in the end, it's where you end, not where you start, because your time is the most expensive resource there is, particularly when you get to let's say, stage of life where your egg timer may possibly be the other way up. And you realise how important and valuable an hour of your time is. I always call it a luxury. It's the most luxurious thing I can give to somebody else is an hour of my time. So they have to pay through the nose for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is about the we were talking last week about predictability of income and systems, and I don't think that was exactly the word I used, but it's about reliability. And when you've got, say, 20 one-to-one coaching clients and 3 or 4 of them decide they want to finish at the same time, that's a big dent in your cash flow. Whereas if you've got 100 people paying you $79 a month or 50 quid a month or whatever, or even 1,000 people doing that, and then you've got, say, 10 or 20 one-to-one clients or VIP clients, you know that the bill's going to get paid every week, and you cannot coach from a place of scarcity.
No, you can't. You can't actually run a business from a place of scarcity, can you?
No, well, a lot of people do it, but you've got to get past that as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And one of the best ways to do that is having, small amounts of recurring revenue from a lot of people. So,
all right, so what we're suggesting here is get a group program up as soon as possible, because then it's affordable for people to be able to work with you. Talk about outcomes and talk about pain and solutions and outcomes, not generic coachy lingo.
Jargon.
Be authentic, real, vulnerable, share that with people online. Realise that your one-to-one time has got to be reassuringly expensive. Somebody the other day joining my little group, which is 50 quid a month, now gone up to 75, said, could she pop round for her induction? And the answer was no, not at these prices. Well, that's it. If you want to come round, it's very expensive.
I know. I mean, I did an hour's work yesterday to get some Google Analytics code on a client's website, and I was happy to do it because I knew that without knowing the traffic numbers, it was pointless going any further. But I then pointed out to him that he'd had £300 worth of my time, gratis, and I was happy to do that. But you've got to let people know that you know what you're worth. Oh, you said something quite important there. The other thing is the other importance of having a group coaching program that's extremely affordable is that you are going to get 8 out of 10 inquiries are people who want what you've got but are not going to be able to afford you. So it's really important to be able to offer them something else. Otherwise,
that's very nice. Yes, and I also think they'll self-select as one-to-ones from your group as well.
Yeah, that's very true. It's like a reservoir that we used to talk about. You've got 600 people in your reservoir on your mailing list. If you've got 100 people in your group coaching program, people are going to self-select up to your one-to-one.
I've thought of another thing. If there's another word you can come up with to call yourself other than a coach, I don't think that's a bad idea, because when you go to networking or whatever it is and you meet people and they ask you what you do and you say I'm a coach, oh God, not another one of those. So distinguish yourself by calling yourself, a consultant or anything really. I don't care what you call yourself, but coach, a bit devalued, I would say, these days.
Yeah, it's a bit like being a Telecom Plus advisor, isn't it? That's another thing. You're either that or a coach or you're selling nutrition via multi-level marketing.
Yeah.
Networking meetings. Thank God I don't have to go to those anymore.
Yeah. So distinguish yourself and also have the balls to be yourself. Really, come out and show us who you are and give people a really strong sense of who you are, and so they know how you can help them.
Yeah, and the other thing I was just going to say is about you. We always say that people buy our energy because we are very energetic people and we're very determined people, and people really like tapping into that. And the best way to get that vibe is through doing something like a podcast or a webinar, or having recordings of you waxing enthusiastic about little tiny bits of your topic. Record yourself doing PowerPoint presentations or talking through mind maps or anything where people can get a real sense of the voice and your passion.
And I think there are a gazillion coaches in the world. Distinguish yourself. I mean, I'm a business coach. How many of those are there in the world? Oh. So I have to distinguish myself so people know before our first call that they like my energy, or they like the fact that I'm an accountant, or they like the fact that I speak as I find, or that we're cat lovers, or that, I don't know. There's something, and it's really quite random. I was asking you on Skype earlier in the week, can you give me that quote about the rivers of abundance, blah, blah, blah. When I went to Google it to get it, guess who came up on page 1 of Google under the search term abundance? Moi. So anybody searching Google who likes abundance might find me and think, in fact, I started a new client this week, and that's how she found me, by searching on the term prosperity and abundance or something. And we received a rapport from her reading my stuff and realising that we were on the same, I don't know what you call it, playing field, or like minds, something in common. Make a connection. That's what I'm saying. Make a connection.
Yeah. Whereas I am to be found on the page of Google for stand-up desk IKEA. It's exactly the same, isn't it? Much more specific.
And now, after last week's podcast, you'll be on the front page for Fitbit.
Oh yes. Oh my God. What's your word of the week then?
Money.
Oh, good. Go on then.
People want to feel all right about it, not skint, not scarce, and not in lack. That's it, really. It's one of the things I address quite early on with people. Are you all right for money? No, not good. Right. So how can we keep you out of lack, really? And that's another energetic thing as much as anything, Nicola.
Well, it's about having a financial cushion as much as anything, isn't it?
No, it's about feeling all right, isn't it?
Or being able to turn your thoughts around.
Exactly.
Turn them into action. Yeah.
Exactly. Tell me your word.
Qualification of clients specifically. I lost 3 or 4 clients in the last couple of weeks, and I've been doing a little post-mortem, trying to work out how I could have spotted that they weren't the ideal client. And it's difficult, really. They were either unable to convert the leads I was giving them to sales, so they had no product funnel in place. They were hoping to convert with just one product, on the front end, or they were insisting on collecting too much information up front, and they had no marketing funnel planned out to turn those leads into, because if you try and get someone to give you an address or a phone number or a piece of personal information about income, for example, then you are going to cut your opt-in rate by 3/4. So if you're only going to ask for a name and email, which you should on the front end, you can even ask just for an email initially, but I like to ask for a name as well. Then you need to have a process to convert those people into sales on the back end. And every single client that I've taken on for Facebook ads that has worked, that has been able to turn those leads into sales, has had a good funnel, which has been tested, in fact, on other traffic methods, because obviously cold paid traffic is the trickiest of all. And, if you can turn a lead into a sale, but I'm just trying to look for ways of qualifying my future clients better. And those are the two things. They've either got to have a good proven product funnel, or they've got to not insist on collecting too much information up front and have a good marketing funnel on the back end to nurture people. And I'm just going to try and be ruthless about this, because if you take on the wrong client and they end up sacking you, or you end up having to sack them, it's not a pleasant experience. It really isn't. So you've got to qualify your clients very carefully, I think.
Okay, tell me what you want us to know this week about your projects.
Well, profit accumulator sort of on ticking over on the back burner at the moment. I'm meeting one of my mentors for lunch on Thursday. You'll know him. He's someone who we used to know very well in the property world, and he's got an extremely dry sense of humour. And does that tell you who it is?
I know who you're talking about. Yes.
Okay. Well, we went on the cruise together. He came on the cruise for the first time last year, and we ended up talking quite a lot about things, and he offered to informally mentor me, and because he's actually working in doing something I'd really like to do, which is he takes on equity in a business in return for his expertise, and he gets paid a salary from the business for doing that, but he's able to work with lots of different businesses, but he's building up a stable of businesses, all of whom complement each other. So one is a oak frame timber building manufacturer, and one is a supplier of parts to oak frame manufacturing. It's he's building up a stable of businesses, all of whom can trade with each other and plug weak link gaps for each other, which is really rather splendid. So
synergy, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to tell him about my new thing of traffic to leads, and how that's the front end, and how I want to make that into an automated process that I'm not involved in on a daily basis, and see what he thinks of that. And if he's got any good ideas, I'm sure he will do, because he's a real world businessman as opposed to an online businessman.
Yeah,
which is a good perspective, I think.
And a fun chap to have lunch with as well.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I imagine there'll be lots of laughs to be had.
I'm sure there will.
What about you then?
Well, I wrote a blog post about 11 fun new ways to make money.
Oh, yes. How much traffic?
Oh, I've no idea. I'll have a look later. I never really look. I must remember to look. I'm right in the beginning of this sort of second week of term, and very, very busy. But about 4 of them really need me to put in some time to work out, in my own inimitable pithy style, what they're actually about. What have I got to do? What's the benefits for me, and what are the benefits for anybody I might introduce, and what's the benefits of the offering? And so I put time in my diary tomorrow and Friday to explore. All of them have a Facebook group which has a files section and videos and a weekly webinar. There's a lot of homework to do, but it's actually worth it, because one of them, I told you last week or the week before, it was about how they're all vaguely in the networking field, and they've worked out that most people won't lift a finger, so they've invented these sort of traffic rotators to make sure that you do get a return. And one of them, the monthly sub is $175, which I've already had my money back on that one, which is quite good. And another one where I went in with 100 quid, and I've got 300 quid in the pipeline already. So I can see that they make money, but I don't understand what they are. So I've got to do some homework on this. And what I'll do is, there are 4 of them. I won't tell you all about all 4 next week, but I'll try and tell you about each one over each of the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, okay. I'm intrigued by this traffic generating.
Rotator.
Yeah, very much so. So you must.
Yeah. When I've studied the details of that, I'm going to send you a memo on it so that you'll see.
Memo? That's awfully official.
Well, it's an email, but it's like, what I mean is like a document where I've worked out what I've just said, which is what's in it for me, what's in it for the punters, what's in it for people I introduced. You know what I mean?
Like a briefing document. Marvellous.
A briefing document, yes.
I'll look
a memo. Yes, you're going to get a memo from me, Nicola.
Well, I'll stand by my bed then, Judith.
Okay. Oh, dear.
What's impressed you then?
I inducted a new client yesterday called Richard, who I told you about a couple of weeks ago. He was one of those people where we've had a relationship on Facebook. I like his stuff, he likes mine, but I've no idea he was contemplating becoming a client. So we had our induction call yesterday, but he's got such a really sweet, polite, but slightly British cynical sense of humour, where he put a little post in the Facebook group before his call which said, "I've not even had my induction with Judith yet, but the very thought of it is making me work harder," which I thought was a confession, which was very funny and very sweet. And it's what Marion and I call some of that virtual coaching, you know, where you haven't even spoken to them yet, but the problems are beginning to resolve, which I don't even have to say anything. You know, just the very fact of me improves their work ethic, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I'm already doing things in advance of meeting my mentor for lunch on Thursday. That
there you go. Yes, so nothing like a meeting with a mentor to get you to up your game a bit, so you're not ashamed of what you present when you get there, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, very true. Yeah. Well, mine's nothing to do with work. I don't know how I came across it, stumbled across it. It's called rosegal.com, ROSEGAL.com. It's the most gorgeous vintage clothes site. It's not vintage clothes, it's new clothes, but they're made in the vintage style. All very 1950s, gorgeous floral. I mean, nothing like the kind of thing I'd wear, right? But absolutely the most gorgeous things to look at. So if you're a fan of Audrey Hepburn and all that lovely Dior new look and, you know, gorgeous vintage rose dresses and things like that, then go and have a look. rosegal.com. It's just gorgeous.
Very nice. I've got 2 clients who are into vintage. All the rage, you know, darling.
I know, absolutely. They do accessories, they do handbags, they do shoes. I mean, I spent a very, very pleasant hour looking around at all the things I'd never wear. Before going off to Marks and Spencer's, as usual. Right. You've
That's
done
it. We've done it. No, I've done mine. Yes, Richard.
Yes, you have. I'll have to cut that bit out. Only bit of editing on the whole show. So well done, Judith. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week.
See you, Nicola.
Bye. You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.